Welcome back to More Moss to the People. My name is Åsa Nilsson and I am your host. I'm back in Sweden. It is December 2024. This is the first episode of season 4. How about that? How about that? I thank you for the feedback. Thank you for your thoughts about what this podcast means to you. And I'll be honest, I was surprised. I was surprised that I heard from people that I don't even know. And, you start to believe that only maybe your friends, maybe my mother, are listening to the podcast. And I mean, I see the numbers, but I mean, I don't know who's behind them, right? So, and I try not to look too much at the numbers. I just want to make sure, is anybody listening, right? Because that's important. And I received messages from people that I have never met in my life that said what this podcast means to them over these now 2+ years. And, you know, this is probably going to sound stupid, but I'm going to say it because it's real. It's the truth. And that is, you start to believe when you're doing this, when you're making a podcast, when you're doing the production, you're creating the content and you're discussing what it is that you want to talk about, it becomes like you're doing a show. Like a show, meaning like putting on a show. And like, how am I going to know what other people want to talk about? How am I supposed to know what the world needs to hear? The world needs to hear, or one person needs to hear what's happening in my life. Because I think that we start to believe that we're so different. Like, nobody thinks like I think. Nobody understands what I've got going on. Everybody's got their own things, they got their own problems, their own issues. And you start to alienate yourself. Like you start to like pull yourself back and not really talk about something that's important to you. And try to fill the needs of others, right? Which I don't know what the needs of others are if they don't tell me what their needs are, right? So this podcast, I started down the road of podcasting with more moms to the people because I needed the help. I needed to kind of get a clear mind of where I am. Where am I going? What am I doing? What? I need help. I need help to learn how to do things differently. And as a person that had a lot of pride in knowing everything, I have been triggered lately. I have been triggered in America when we were there working, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But I've started to kind of get away from sharing my own heart about what I'm going through, about what I'm feeling, because it's it's like keeping up with the Joneses again. It's like it's this repetitive cycle that I keep finding myself in. Why do I keep looking outside of myself to try to figure out what I know I need to do when I have issues, if I have concerns in my life? I don't need to look outside. I need to look inside. And this podcast it's not a show. This is my life. And when I remember that this moment that I sit here with you and I share these thoughts in my heart with you, my confusions, my losing my way, my constant like, what do I want to do now? What do I want to do next? How am I doing? What's it like? What's going on? La, la, la. Right? All the questioning that I always have in myself, I'm not alone. And I pulled a tarot card. I always pull a tarot card before I do any kind of a podcast or a coaching call or a meeting with somebody. Anytime I'm going to meet somebody virtually, I always pull a tarot card. And I pulled this card. I asked God, God, tell me, what does the world need from me today? What does the world need to hear from me today? What's happening? What's happening in the world? And this is the Two of Swords. And you see that this woman has a decision to make. She's pondering, she's pontificating, she's thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? What should I do? I mean, tell me that's not a perfect example of what I constantly am doing. So, if I am constantly doing this, perhaps you are constantly doing this. Are you always questioning where you're going? Look, so there's the moon. There's the moon, the crescent moon, the beautiful moon, right? Moon comes at night. What happens at night? We rest. We rest. We need to rest. We need to think. We need to feel in. We need to have the emotions. And what's wrong with having emotions? What's wrong with wanting more for our lives? Maybe doing less but wanting more. And what does more look like? I mean, what does more look like for me today? What is today's date? Today, December 9th, 2024. After coming back from America, where Thomas and I spent 42 days working with three different beautiful, beautiful clients, helping them with Swedish death cleaning in their home, and contemplating, what did I learn? What did I learn from the experience? What can I do better? What can I do differently? How do I want to work? How do I want this to be so that I can continue to allow life to happen for me instead of me pushing and shoving my way to the answers? You know, there's nothing wrong with questioning anything. I think it's actually very smart and very intuitive to question. Now, where I sometimes get stuck is don't stop questioning. I don't stop questioning, so I never actually wait for the answers. I never allow the answers to come. How do the answers come? How, when you have decisions to make, when you have choices in front of you and you feel, I don't know, A or B, C or D? What if it's nothing? What if it's none of the above? Why does there have to be an answer? And I think let me get my cup of coffee over here. Why does there always have to be an answer? I heard something really interesting this week. I was listening to this person on YouTube that I follow, the autistic mystic. He is a mess. I love this guy. And he reads tarot cards, and I love tarot cards. And he said, if you have lived an interesting life, you're winning. Is that what he said? If you've lived an interesting life, you're a winner. And I can say I have definitely, definitely so far lived an interesting life. I've made interesting choices. I've made fun choices, funny choices, really horrendous choices. But that's okay because they're mine to make. They're yours to make. They're ours to make. And the constant pull and push of decision making, does it have to be so complicated? Do we have to make it so complicated? Do we have to know the answers? Are we willing to allow the answers to come? I'm working on that. I'm working on that for sure, for sure. And after these 42 days in America, what was it like? What did I learn? What did I take away? How did I like to work? How did I enjoy working with Thomas hands-on with clients? Did the clients like working with both of us? Would I have been able to do the work without Thomas? Very, very good questions. Interestingly, I found that Thomas was a huge help to me, an enormous help to me. And in one of our jobs, I wouldn't have been able to do it. I wouldn't have been able to get the work completed the way we needed to get that work completed. So it's good because it doing the work helps you understand what you like, what you don't like, what you want to change, right? What do you want to add in? What do you want to ask? What kinds of questions do I need to ask? What do I need to make sure of in advance before I get into a situation of do I want to work in the attics of an older home? You know, no. That's a decision. That's a decision that we've made that older homes in the attics, no. Uh, you know, animal debris, a lot of unhealthy, dangerous things to be around and to be having going into our lungs. And it's no, it's not okay. It's not worth it. I mean, we are not equipped to handle that kind of environment. We are not wearing hazmat suits to go up into an attic to do work. I mean, we still have to do the work, so we have to be able to move and stretch and bend over and get things out. And that's a decision that we are coming to a really hard close on, and that's going to be a no, no. I mean, newer homes maybe, but not the older homes. And I got this question that we're going to start integrating also into our onboarding from a friend of ours who works at a proctologist as a proctologist nurse, and uh, she says the question that they ask their patients is, "What are you the most afraid of? What are you most afraid of finding? What are you most afraid of feeling?" Right? I mean, how can I use this question? What are you most afraid of finding or feeling during this process? And how vulnerable that has to make a person because then they have to answer. They don't have to answer, but if they are with you 100% in this project, which they need to be, what are you most afraid of? What are you afraid of feeling? What are you afraid of finding? Maybe it's old love letters. Maybe it's photographs that you don't want to see. Maybe it's the t-shirt from college that you always loved, that your loved one wore. You don't want to see it. You don't want to see it because you know what's going to happen. You know that the floods are just going to open and the tears are going to come. And that's good too. That's good too. It's good for us to know what you're afraid of. And it was such a beautiful question that our friend, our client Sharon said, you should integrate this into your upfront questions, because I do already ask the question of how do you want this to look when we're done? How do you want to feel when this is complete? Like what is it going to look like for you? And the fear question is such a good one. Like, what are you afraid of? It's such a good question because it's real, right? It's like it's now. It's now. And that's something tangible, something we can touch right this very minute because we know we're going to be getting into this project and what could potentially happen. What are you afraid of? Whew, such a good question. I'm just so glad that we heard that question from that woman, Simone, when she shared it. I thought it was so good. And so did Sharon. And like, that was like the confirmation that I needed that, yeah, I'm going to ask. This is something we're going to be asking because we need to know. We need to know. I want to know. I want to know. And so, there's so much gratitude around all the work, all the things that we touch that belong to human beings, and every single thing has a story, everything has a meaning, everything, it's either going, it's staying, it's getting donated, it's gonna go to the family member, it's gonna go to the garbage can, it's gonna go into the dumpster, it's gonna go to recycling, it's gonna go to the donation station, wherever. It's it's very poignant how many things we all have. It's an important point because all things matter. They are made of matter and they do matter. And whether you think that they affect you or not, they do. They affect your body, your mind, your soul, your heart. If the confusion, the clarity, the The ability to make choices. Some people don't have a very easy time making a choice. Some people, because it's too much. It's too much. Go to the restaurant and you have a menu with 5,000 things on it. It's like, I don't even know. I've lost my appetite because I don't even know where to start. It's the same thing in our homes. So what do we talk about? Leave no mess behind. Let me tell you, when you start seeing how the the people, the clients have these belongings, and do you have children of your own? Do you have family of your own? Who's going to come in? Who's going to take care of if you were to die today, tomorrow, or you walk out of your house, an accident happens and you never come back? What happens? Who's going to take care of it all? It's heavy, it's big, of course, it's huge stuff. And maybe you don't care. Maybe you don't care. You can take care of it after I'm gone. That's not the person that is not the person we are working with. Obviously, they would never ever hire death cleaners to come into their home to help them through this process because they don't care. They care about themselves and they care about getting the things that they want and taking care of themselves right now, my needs, my wants. That's, hey, whatever. Listen, we are all different. But what if? What if you do care? What if, oh, by the way, this deck is the Rider-Waite deck, the tarot. What if you do care? And what if you don't know how to proceed? What if you don't know how to move forward, but you know you need help? You know you need to get some things out of your home because you've got too much stuff. And then you got a storage unit. Oops, I got to pay $300, $400 a month for a storage unit. Do those numbers. Do those numbers. And think about, have you seen those things? Have you touched those things? What's in there? Do you know what's in there? Do you have an audit? Have you audited what's in there? And do you want it? Do you need it? Does your family want it? Does your family need it? Do your friends want it? Do your friends need it? Does somebody want it? Does somebody need it? Or are you waiting for somebody to light the thing on fire? And then you can say, oh, God, thank God it's over. Thank God it's over. I don't have to take care of it. What else in your life are you doing that for? Where are you doing that? How you do one thing is how you do everything. So what are we doing? What are we doing? Everything's connected. So today, December, I've already forgotten, December 9th, 2024, I'm 57 years of age. I'm starting season 4, episode 1 of More Moss to the People podcast. I'm a Swedish death cleaner and declutterer. I work with my beloved husband. We travel the world, primarily USA, and we help people strategize, clean out, organize, get clean and clear with their decision making. We don't have any skin in the game. We don't care whether you get rid of it or not. But you'll care whether you get rid of it or not. I care to help you find the way. And what happens is you start finding ways to do different things that you haven't been looking at. All of a sudden, your mind starts to clear. I mean, I'm not here to sell you. I'm just telling you, you're going to drop dead. We're all going to drop dead. So what about all the things that we had to have that mattered so much to us at the end of the day? The day, D-Day, Death Day. Are we laying there thinking, God, you know what I wish I had was some more cashmere sweaters and some boots. I wish I had some more boots. I probably will be thinking that. I'm kidding. uh, God, seriously. Whew. The tough conversations, right? Having the tough conversations with ourselves first and with our family members next, our loved ones, whoever your family is, your family of choice. Trust me, I get that. I get understanding that friends become your family. They know you more. They may be the ones that are with you at the end. So what do we want to do? How do we want to live today? Do I want to live today in a ruckus, like chaotic mess? No. God, no. Ugh. No. No, I do not. And to be able to make a decision today at this age of like, what if the hopes that I had and the purpose that I was going towards, what if it changes? What if it has changed? What if my ideals of the thought of my purpose has changed? It can. It can. It can change anytime I want it to. Right? I mean, it's my purpose, like the purpose like of my life. I mean, I honestly believe my one of my biggest reasons for being here is to help people understand themselves better by me understanding myself and sharing my journey through the confusion, through the conflama, through the chaos, the mess, the heartbreak, the hard conversations with the friends that you love so much, but potentially can lose by sharing your honest, heartfelt truths with them about what's changed, how you feel about what's changed, and maybe the relationship has changed, and maybe it's no longer such a great fit. Maybe it can be a great fit again if you're really honest. But then they also have to accept the change. And I wanted to let you know I had spoken a couple of episodes back about a conversation that I knew I needed to have with somebody, but I was afraid to have it because of the potential of the friendship dying and the potential of me sharing my truth. Was it worth it? Was it worth it if I could lose the friendship because I had I had started more and more and more to not share what it was that I was feeling and what I was thinking because I didn't know how to share it. I didn't know how to do it in a way that I felt good about. Well, as a follow-up for you, I had the conversation. I had the conversation because I had to have the conversation. And it was magical. It was magical because it was not finger pointing. It was not hateful, angry. It was simply me sharing my truth of what I feel, how I feel about something, and bringing it to light, the elephant in the room, so to speak, right? We all have these elephants in our rooms that we do not want to look at. So we put our heads in the sand or we turn our eyes to the side and make it seem like we don't see it or feel it. What do you think's happening with that? Full circle. It comes full, like clutter. It comes full circle. I promise you. It's gonna come back. It's gonna come back. It's gonna bite you. It's gonna bite you in the butt if you do not get real, if you do not get honest with yourself. And that's what I had to do because there was a culmination. Like once I finally said out loud, ugh, why don't I want to have this conversation? Why don't I want to have this tough conversation? Because of the discomfort. I don't want to feel discomfort. I don't want to feel alienated. I want to belong in the group. But to what extent do I want to belong at the point to the point that I don't belong to myself anymore? What is that for? Do I want to belong so badly that I cannot even belong to myself because I can't look myself in the eye because I'm not sharing myself fully and honestly? And if I'm not sharing myself fully and honestly, what am I doing here? Who am I doing this for? Who do I think I'm doing this for? So you see, this all of this comes back to the podcast. Why am I doing the podcast? What am I doing this for? Am I doing this because I want attention? Am I doing this because I want you to look at me and hear my voice? Maybe, maybe, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I could say, oh, no, I'm doing this because it's just such an honor and a joy. Well, it's also a part of me sharing my story and my heart. And for anyone that ever wanted to say, who was Åsa Johanna Nilsson? Who was she? Listen to my podcasts and you'll know who I am. Am I enough? Am I enough for you? Am I enough for the world? I know I am. I know I am. Deep in my heart, I know I am, right? Am I enough? I don't know. Is what I have to say of value or of worth? I don't know. It is to me. And if it is to me, then maybe it is to you. Maybe it's not. And if it's not, keep on stepping, right? There's plenty of billions of other people you can listen to. Yeah. I do matter. My voice matters. Your voice matters. And if I choose to continue this podcast and share my heart and my soul and my journey and my confusions and all of it with you, maybe that'll help you share your confusions and your journey with other people too. Yeah. This is how we grow. This is how I believe we learn because the tough conversations help us change the world. And if that's one person, that's terrific. I'm honored. I'd be honored if one person listened and got something from my message and from the feedback that I asked for because I needed to hear it to decide, am I going to continue with this? Am I continuing with this journey of the podcast? For right now, I say yeah. For right now, I'm going to say yeah. As long as I can do my work, our beloved work, which again, how can I let it be easy? How can I do what comes easily for me and get paid for it? How can I possibly do? And people, like, there are plenty of people around us that think, how can you be doing this? How do you do that? I don't even understand it. What does it mean? Why are you doing that? Like, you can work with death. You can help people clean up their stuff. Like, you would help people with that? I'm like, absolutely. Yeah. Yes. And I love it. I love to do it. I'm good at it. I'm good at it and it comes easily for me. And I love having conversations about what's going to happen. What do you want to happen? Do you want to talk to your family? How do you want to talk to your family? Where do we start? Let's start here. We're going to start in this room and we're going to do one thing at a time and we're going to stick together. There's a plan, there's a plan for all of it. And if it changes, then the plan changes, right? If that person says, I don't want to go into my husband's closet, I can't do his desk cleaning in his closet. I'm not ready. Then we go to another closet. Then we go someplace else. We do something else. We keep on moving. We keep moving. We keep making progress. It's progress, not perfection, right? Progress, not perfection. And the thing is, if we expect things to happen for us, but we're not willing to do any of the work, I think that we're going to be let down. I have a feeling it's not going to probably happen that way. It's probably not going to happen that way. And karmically, I want to leave a clean home. I want to leave a clean slate. I want people to know that I love them if I love them. I want people to know, listen, I want you to have that watch because that meant something to me. And if you would like to have it and you can give it to your children or your children's children, whatever you want to do, as an example, it's that matters. That's conscious decision making. And I don't want to be unconscious. I don't want to live an unconscious life. It's not hard to make decisions when you know what it feels like to feel good. What is it that I want to feel when I'm done with this project? What is it that I'm afraid of? What am I so afraid of? What am I afraid I'm going to find? What am I afraid I'm going to feel? Think about that. Think about that, my beautiful friend. I thank you. I thank you for being here. I thank you for listening. If you're watching today, thank you for watching. This is a part of my journey. Thank you for being a part of my journey. Thank you for sharing energetically with me what I need to show up here and to talk about this with you also. There is an exchange. I feel the exchange. I feel it from you. I appreciate you. I hope that you have a beautiful, beautiful holiday. however you choose or don't choose to celebrate. It's still December 9th, 2024. And I will ask one thing of you. If you know anyone that is alone, that does not want to be alone at this time of the year, would you please extend your hand or your heart? Conversation, pick up the phone, call somebody, check in. Everybody wants to be seen, valued, and heard. Every one of us. And we'll look for it however we can because we all need it, want it, and deserve it. So I ask that you extend yourself, if you would, to somebody that you know doesn't have anybody, that you know is alone, that you know is hurting. Because, man, the feeling of helping another person, extending your hand, being kind to somebody because you can, oof, it's the best feeling. All right. Happy holidays to you. Happy day. Thank you for your time. And I'll see you in January. Take care. Bye bye.